So today we're going to be taking a look at the Aulumu vegan leather case for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, this is a little bit of a different case than I've ever tried before, not for the fact that it's vegan leather, but it's got one little feature on it, which is these cooling holes that are pretty interesting, and the look of this case is kind of interesting too. So let's take a look at the packaging of it. Now, this is, like I said, a vegan leather case. It does come in this black color and this white color. Now, I do have the white one. And it says A15 Technology PU Protective Case, unique CPU cooling window design for the iPhone 15 series. So nothing really else in the packaging. Now, I haven't really seen another packaging like this one. So all this is you just kind of cut it right there, and all you get in there is the case. Nothing else. Very simple, very, basic packaging. And for the price of this, I definitely did kind of expect a little bit of a better packaging, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So taking a look at the case itself, this is the white version. This is vegan leather, and it's definitely got the kind of a feeling of leather, but it doesn't feel as, I guess, almost as grainy as normal leather would feel, obviously, because this is not regular leather. It's not like a full grain leather where you can really feel the leather texture. This one is textured a little bit. You can kind of see it, and it's textured all the way around the sides, but we'll take a look at that here shortly. And here is your cooling holes, the cooling design. Now, if you can see through there, it is kind of a little bit transparent, maybe a little bit easier visible through the inside of the case, but it is a transparent style little hole, so that's there to make sure that your phone doesn't overheat or help it with overheating or getting warm or anything like that. Now, so those are the holes right there, and it does say 15 CPU cooling holes. It has that Aulumu branding right there, and some, strange little lines and stuff that kind of make it look a little high-tech and things like that. I'm not a huge fan of the way that looks. I much prefer like a very clean look, and especially without that branding and that big 15 CPU thing written right there, but that's not the end of the world. Now, taking a look at the inside of the case, you do get this kind of soft foam material right here. It's not very textury, but if you hear it, it's definitely going to protect with a little bit, I would say, of drop protection, and definitely protect the back of your phone from getting scratched up or any kind of, damage from the back of the case or anything like that. And on the inside of the rest of the case, it's just that vegan leather material going all the way around. Now, taking a look there, you do have your MagSafe ring and alignment magnet, and the alignment magnet kind of sticks up a little bit. It's sort of built into the case, but you can feel that it's raised a little bit, and you do get that little bit of Aulumu branding right there. Again, I'm not huge on all the branding, but that's on the inside of the case, so they can kind of have whatever they want on here because nobody else really sees that. So let's go ahead and take our black titanium 15 Pro Max, slap it in here, and let's listen out for that click. Now, not too much of a click because this is a leather case, but it is on there very well, and it's on there pretty securely. Now, one thing about this case is that it feels just like the Apple leather case fits. Now, the material itself isn't necessarily like the Apple leather case because that was actually leather, but it has the exact same fit that I remember any Apple leather case having before. So let's step around the sides of it and we'll talk a little more about the fit. Now, on the top, you do have a completely closed-in top. On the left-hand side, you do have your action button, volume up and down, and thank you, Aulumu, for giving us the action button and not a cutout. That's always worth mentioning right there. And let's take a listen to those buttons real quick. Very nice, very clicky plastic buttons, and they do have this they're very flat on the top and kind of sharp around the edges, which it doesn't hurt your finger or anything or bother your finger whatsoever, but they're very pronounced, and you can definitely tell when you're touching one of the buttons, and I actually really like the way that the buttons on this case feel. Now, moving along to the bottom hand side of it, you do have your accurate microphone and speaker cutouts, as well as that USB Type-C port cutout, and it is a nice wide open USB port, so that way you can take your USB Type-C cable here and you can fit it in there without it touching along the edges. Now, I've used a few different kinds of cables. All of them fit very well into this case, so that shouldn't be an issue at all. And moving along to the right-hand side, it is completely closed in, and you do have that button right there. Now, let's talk about the fit of this. So on the top and on the sides, it's going to be a little bit flexible right there by your buttons, but the rest of the case has a very nice fit on there. You know, very clean. It's not going to come off of your phone or anything like that. Nice tight fit around the USB port and around the top of the phone case. Very good fit. I really like the fit of it. How does this case feel in the hand? And I was talking about it a little bit before that with kind of how it feels similar to the Apple leather case. And I can kind of stand by that. You know, putting it on and the way that you would feel it and hold it in your hands, you would almost think that, especially if you didn't have these little textures on the back here, you would almost feel that you were holding an Apple leather case just because of the fit around it, how it fits around the edges, and kind of how it snaps onto the phone, and just the thinness. It's almost exactly the same dimensions as the Apple leather case would be, in my opinion. Now, of course, we don't have a leather case from Apple for the 15 Pro Max, but just remembering from the 14 Pro Max and all my other Apple leather cases that I've owned before, this feels very similar to it. Now, of course, again, not going to be the same texture because this is that vegan leather, but as far as the fit of it, definitely similar to the Apple leather case. Now, before we move on to the MagSafe test, I did forget to do one thing, and that is to weigh this case. Now, it is fairly easy to take on and off. If you see, you just kind of got to get a corner of it off, or what I do is not necessarily the most popular thing, but I kind of just put my finger somewhere that's not on one of the camera lenses and push out. But let's go ahead and weigh this because we haven't weighed it yet. Let's see how much this weighs. Now, we do have our scale in grams. We'll set that down, and we're looking at 36 grams. So not heavy at all, about on par with other leather cases. Let's take a look at the Andar Aspen just out of reference to see how much that weighs compared to this. Now, this is a full grain leather case. Let's set that down, and we're looking at 37 grams. So pretty much about the same weight as the Andar Aspen, 1 gram lighter. So let's go ahead and set the scale to the side, and let's get into our MagSafe test. So let's go ahead and put our 15 Pro Max back in there. And like I said, very similar fit to the Apple leather case. Now let's start off with our usual suspects for the MagSafe test. We do have our Apple MagSafe wallet with that standard, insert in there. Put that on. MagSafe animation right there. And this is very comfortably on there. You can sit here and kind of give it a little bit of a shake, and it's not going to come off. The magnets on this case are actually very strong, and I really like that, especially for a leather case. A lot of the time, materials may get involved and may impact the strength of the magnets, but with this Aulumu case, that's not the case with it. So you do kind of have to force that off of there. Now, moving along to our Apple MagSafe battery pack, go ahead and slap that on. Oh, one more time. Let's try that. It was charging, but I didn't get the animation. I guess we're not getting an animation, but it is charging right there. Either way, you can sit here and give this a nice shake, and this isn't coming off. So you do have to kind of really push that off. And if you can kind of hear how that sounded when it came off, you can really hear that those magnets are good. Let's try that one more time. Will we get it? There we go. We got the animation. But listen to what it sounds like when it comes off. That is a strong magnet on there. Now, that is also touching the corner right there of that, those vent holes. So that may be causing it, but either way, I'm sitting here and kind of pushing it with my fingers, and it's not coming off. You do have to kind of force this one off of there. And finally, let's go ahead and take it over to our Anker 623. We'll set this down and see how this is. So there we have it. It is picking up, hang on. It is picking up our MagSafe base very well. Now, of course, if you give it a little bit of a shake, it will come off. This isn't the strongest magnet in any case that I've experienced, but it's a very good magnet. It's not going to come off of your stands or anything like that. We can sit here and do our usual test right there of it sitting on its mount, give it a nice 360-degree turn with no issues whatsoever. Pop that off. One more for good measure. Let's just see how it is. Like I said, very good on there. And you can turn it sideways, sit here, tap it around, do whatever you're doing, whether you're watching a video or anything like that, or have it in portrait mode. If you sit here and trying to get some navigation directions or anything like that, you have no issues of this coming off of your charger or your car mount or anything like that. So all in all, I'm really liking this case. I just think that for the price, it's not what I would necessarily buy, just because this case is $59.95. So it's $60 that you're looking at it, which is the same price that your Apple leather cases used to be. However, one big difference is that this is vegan leather. So you're not getting that full grain type of material. You're not getting the same feeling, the same patina, And also, I've noticed that vegan leather may be a little bit less durable than regular leather is. And especially with this white. Now, I have been using this for a few days now on my phone, on and off, obviously between different cases. And I don't have any kind of, damage or dirt, dust, any oil marks or stains or anything like that on there. I'm just not sure how long this color will hold up, especially with everyday use. If you're somebody who uses this case every day, it may turn a little bit darker on you just over time. Now, obviously, any regular leather case would patina, things like that. But with this one, I'm just worried about specifically the white getting kind of dingy and dirty. So that is something to definitely keep an eye on. And I do wish that this case was a little bit cheaper. I would say maybe like $40 to $45. Give that little bit of a price cut just because otherwise, when we're in the $60 territory, you are talking about a vegan leather case, and there's other cases out there that are full grain leather, feels great, it's gonna be more durable, and it also has the really good MagSafe, nice buttons, things like that. So there's a ton of different options on there for these cases, and especially leather cases. But I just think for $59.95, this is just a little too expensive. Now, like I said, great fit on there. You got great MagSafe, very clicky buttons. I just don't know if I can get behind that $60 price. And I know, Aulumu isn't really too popular of a brand. I hadn't heard about them before the iPhone 15 Pro Max series. But, $60, I just think that it's a no-go for what you can do with other leather cases for around the same price. But if you are somebody looking for vegan leather, if you're somebody who wants that white or that black color with this kind of this really reminds me of a computer or video games, something like that, where it's, it's got that cooling right there. It's got all the little lines and dashes and kind of a futuristic look. It's a little too much for me. This kind of really reminds me of a Stormtrooper when I look at it, but it's a little futuristic for me. I much prefer a very clean, minimal look like this on a leather case, especially if you're going out on town or you're in a business meeting, anything like that. You set that down and this kind of draws some attention and it looks a little bit unprofessional, things like that. But if you're not somebody who necessarily cares about that, don't want the minimal look, you want that little bit of a different design, this may be a win for you. And I really have been enjoying using this case. Not saying I don't like it. I just think for the price tag, it's not what it needs to be for that price tag. I would definitely buy this and recommend this at $40 to $45 all day long, but I think $60 is just a little bit too much. But let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.